For more on this story, TRT World Research Center Manager Tarek Cherkaoui joins us now. Tarek, great to have you in the studio. Interesting to hear those voices from Egypt's streets. We've seen deaths recently as well, police brutality that many people 8 years ago were protesting against. Do you feel that the revolution was in vain?
I wouldn't characterize it as being in vain. I would frame it differently. I would say that this is an unfinished revolution. For me, all the reasons, all the factors that acted as a trigger for the Arab Spring are still there. Repression, heavy repression. Let us not forget that Egypt, for example, had decades of repressive rule, autocratic rule, family-anchored, non-participatory, non-accountable political power. So, yes, there were definitely many reasons for triggering the revolution. There were, of course, ups and downs. There were moments of hope, but there are also moments of heavy, very heavy oppression right now.
So you would agree with Amnesty, who say that it's more dangerous to openly criticize the government in Egypt today than at any other time in recent history?
Absolutely. I would support this statement 100%. For me, the repression that we are seeing from the Sisi regime is not a sign of power. It's more like a sign of weakness, because Mubarak era, yes, there was everything, all the factors, the nepotism, the corruption was there, but there were also some carrots, not just sticks. With Sisi, we are only witnessing the use of sticks, heavy repression. There are like about, at least in the most conservative estimates, 106,000 detainees. Most of them are for political reasons. We are seeing, I mean, the regime has only been successful in building new prisons. We are witnessing the building of at least 18 new prisons since Sisi took power. So these are signs that say a lot of things.
And I think many countries around the world have jumped in on that criticism of Egypt's human rights record. At the same time, though, we've got countries like the U.S. giving millions of dollars in military aid to Egypt every year. What kind of responsibility does the rest of the world bear?
It's a heavy responsibility. Primarily, the U.S. bears a lot of responsibility, but also Europe. For example, we have seen Macron visiting recently Egypt, and for the sake of selling some weaponry, they turned a blind eye on so many exactions and repression. There are also the role of Gulf states like UAE and Saudi Arabia. They have been bankrolling Sisi and his junta to control Egypt. The problem is structural now. What we're seeing is it's what I call military incorporated. Egypt has turned into a military state. They consider Egypt as a battlefield, and not just in security terms, in economic terms. We are now, like never before, the military is controlling about 60% of the economy. This is huge. It means that things are getting worse, and this is why I'm calling this an unfinished revolution.
Indeed, and 8 years on, still unfinished, many questions left in the air. Tarek Cherkaoui, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.